Husband divorced me with pre-prepared papers. When I found out I was infertile, then my sister got pregnant with his baby while comforting me, but when DNA tests proved he wasn't the father, he begged me to come back. The doctor said the word infertile, and my husband pulled divorce papers out of his briefcase before we even left the parking lot. Not from his car, from his briefcase. Like he'd packed them that morning next to his laptop and protein bar. I need a family, he said, not looking at me. I've always needed a family. This changes everything. I sat in the passenger seat staring at the manila envelope while my whole world caved in. The ink on the papers was dry. The tabs were already marked with little colored flags showing me where to sign. A lawyer had prepared these recently, which meant he'd consulted a divorce attorney before we even got my test results. How long have you had these? My voice sounded like it belonged to someone else. That doesn't matter. How long, Arlo? He finally looked at me. 2 weeks. The first test came back abnormal and I wanted to be prepared. Prepared. Like I was a weather forecast he'd checked before deciding whether to bring an umbrella. I signed the papers that night because I couldn't breathe in the same house as him. My sister Gemma showed up the next morning with grocery bags and red eyes. She moved into my spare bedroom and held me while I cried for 3 straight days. She cooked meals I couldn't eat and ran baths I couldn't feel and talked me through the darkest thoughts I'd ever had. She was my anchor. 6 weeks later, Gemma sat me down and told me she was pregnant. The air left my lungs so fast I heard it. Before you say anything, she started, hands shaking. It happened once. One night. He came over to pick up the last of your things and I was drinking and he was crying and it just happened. I stared at her. My sister. The person who'd been sleeping 10 feet from me while I grieved, who'd wiped my tears and told me I was enough, had slept with my ex-husband. When? I whispered. 5 weeks ago. 5 weeks ago, I was on her shoulder sobbing about how broken I felt. She'd held my hand and told me Arlo was garbage. Then she'd slept with him while I was knocked out on the anxiety medication she'd watched me take. I told her to get out of my apartment. She cried and begged, but I couldn't even look at her face without seeing his. My parents tried to mediate. She made a mistake, my mom pleaded. She's carrying your niece or nephew. She's carrying my ex-husband's baby, I corrected, while pretending to save me from him. 3 months of silence followed. I blocked Gemma. I blocked Arlo. I went to therapy twice a week and slowly started rebuilding something that resembled a life. Then Arlo showed up at my door unannounced. He looked terrible. Unshaven, dark circles, clothes wrinkled like he'd slept in them. The baby isn't mine, he said. I leaned against the doorframe. What? Gemma's baby. I got a prenatal DNA test. It's not mine. He was shaking. She lied about it being mine so I'd stay. She wanted the life you had. The house, the money, the stability. She planned the whole thing. I felt my jaw clench. You think that matters to me? She was already pregnant when we slept together. The timeline doesn't match. She got pregnant by someone else and used me as a cover story. He stepped closer. I made the worst mistake of my life leaving you. The papers, the divorce, all of it. I was scared and stupid and I threw away the only person who ever actually loved me. You packed divorce papers in your briefcase, Arlo, like a lunch. I know how that looked. It looked like you'd been waiting for an excuse to leave and my broken body gave you one. His face crumbled. Please, I'll do anything. Counseling, therapy, whatever you need. We can adopt, we can do surrogacy. I don't care about having biological kids anymore. I just want you. I looked at him standing there desperate and pathetic, and I felt absolutely nothing. Not anger, not sadness, not satisfaction, just nothing. You wanted a family so badly you left me in a parking lot with pre-signed divorce papers. I said calmly. Now you want me back because the backup plan fell through. I'm not your first choice. I'm your only option, and I deserve to be someone's first choice. He started crying, actual tears running down his face. You are my first choice. You always were. Then why did you have a plan B in your briefcase? He couldn't answer. I closed the door slowly while he stood there. My phone buzzed an hour later. Gemma, a text that said, he knows about the baby. I'm sorry for everything. Can we please talk? I blocked the number and went back to the book I'd been reading. For the first time in months, the silence in my apartment didn't feel lonely. It felt like mine.